Time now for us to talk about current odds around the league for teams to win the Stanley Cup. Chances Are is presented by Betway. Okay, Avs. A little slippery lately, too, but not really affecting the odds at the moment. Panthers, Flames. Look at the Leafs ahead of the Lightning. I want to dig into that for a sec, too. But let's start at the top. Avs, plus 350. Best chances to win the Stanley Cup. Is that accurate in your mind? Money man, Stu Grimson?
Is which accurate?
That the Avs are plus 350, number one odds to win the Stanley Cup in your mind at the moment?
I think that makes great sense.
Yeah?
I mean, there have been a couple of hiccups in the early going and maybe of late for the Avs this year, but it's been really, nothing but an upward trajectory all year long for this group. And they've had their share of injuries along the way. I think the thing that it was a critical question for me, early on through the summer, and they acquire Kemper, losing Grubauer to the Seattle Kraken. It took maybe a handful of games, a block of 10, and Kemper really seemed to kind of settle in. And now there really appears to be a lot of stability, a lot of consistency where this group is concerned. They know who they are. They're really, really potent up front. And, any decor that boasts a Cale Makar, it's just, you got to give that due consideration.
Yeah, no question. Their team's stacked. I love everything about their team. They haven't been at their elite level coming down the stretch here for me, but all things being equal, they're well coached, very well managed. They have game breakers in their lineup, which is great, and their star players aren't star players that play on the perimeter. They cut to the middle of the ice and they play hard, namely Rantanen and Landeskog, who should be back in time, Nazem Kadri having a massive year, Cale Makar, and, of course, Rantanen. So I like their squad.
A little 4 or 5 game wobble here, but I'll tell you, one of the hardest games to pick on the docket last night was St. Louis, Colorado, and they, roundly handed St. Louis a loss last night. I thought that was a tough matchup, a great team, a team that's playing well heading down the stretch as well. They showed me something and kind of coming up with a win over St. Louis.
I like some of the secondary offense in that group, too. Be it Burakovsky, Nichushkin, both pending UFAs that have had really good years so far for them. Yeah. And we'd be remiss if we didn't mention Devon Toews on the back end. He's a number one on most teams. He's outstanding. He's a game changer for them. So I like the way the team is slotted. I like the composition of their team, the makeup and the build. I like their style of play.
Eastern Conference, the top team odds-wise, Florida Panthers. I don't have the whole history books of odds in the brain, but I'm going to guess that hasn't been listed in this way very often for this franchise's history.
Right.
Here they are. So will they live up to this really, really high expectation? You got it all, right?
Got it all, man.
The team's better than ever. The 13-gamer that we just saw from them recently, that was snapped. So what do you think about their odds?
I think they're accurate just based on the team and the way the team is built, their style of play. Huberdeau having an MVP-type season. Barkov is one of the best two-way players in the world. Of course, Aaron Ekblad on the verge of returning, we spoke about. Bobrovsky should be in the Vezina Trophy conversation. He's only one win off of 40 for the year. Spencer Knight is a young goalie, and behind him, Montour, you mentioned earlier, as a third-pair guy when everybody's healthy, that's a luxury.
I tell you might argue it's, one of the more robust decors across the entire spectrum of playoff teams for the NHL. So there's a lot to like in the Panthers. They have been, far and away the most potent group out there. And, just in terms of their ability to defend, it's not a club that struggles in their own end. So they give you a good bit of both, and they're going to be a handful, no question. They're going to be a handful.
I spoke to Claude Giroux the other morning at pregame skate, and he couldn't wipe the smile off his face. He said initially it was weird, of course, being a Flyer his whole life, having the respect that he does for the Flyers and their organization in Philadelphia. But he's been easy in terms of the way he's been able to acclimate himself to that group. It's been quite a seamless transition. 23 points in 18 games. He's looked excellent there so far.
At some point, they might have to get past the two-time defending champs. Can you imagine the
Let's
Sunshine
go with that.
State rivalry?
Battle of the Sunshine State.
All the juice?
Yeah, all the coconut oil. Get it ready. All the SPF. All your margaritas. Yeah, let's go. I'm in.
I'll tell you, I'll die a happy man if I see this year a Sunshine State matchup and a Battle of Alberta.
Me too. Those are mine too. That's Nirvana right there.
On each side of the league, a Western and an Eastern matchup.
I am totally.
So then help me out here, because if you're giving me $100, I'm probably going, I don't know. With what I've seen, Toronto looks great this year, but Maple Leafs plus 900, Lightning plus 1,100?
That is.
If I give you 100, if I give you a Benjamin Franklin, and I say, Weeksy, what are you doing there? I'm going for the 1,100. What about you?
I'm definitely going for the 11. I might even go to the 12 with the Canes. Just put another hundo on that because both those teams are stacked. I'm down with that. I see what you did, Bronny. What about you?
That to me, the 200 points that separate those two,
that's a lot.
The Leafs and the Lightning, that comes down to divisional standings, pure and simple. You look a little further beneath the the surface, like Weeksy and I do. I'll tell you, I've been saying it from the start. I've been banging this drum since October. Tampa 2-3-peat. I don't know that you bet against this group. I do not know that you would bet against this group.
It's like a mortgage rate. Shh. Don't tell anybody. Let's lock it in at these numbers right now. I'm in. If you can get Tampa at plus 1,100, I'm definitely in. The Canes at plus 1,200, and the Leafs are higher than that up the totem pole. Hey, we're not going to complain, and we're on live TV around the world, so we're going to keep it as it is. But all things being equal, the year that Steven Stamkos, the captain's having 100 points, sets a franchise record for most points by a player in their franchise. There's a lot going well for the Lightning right now, especially the fact that they have an opportunity to three-peat.
The oldest player, Stamkos, on this roster that you look to have, contribute a healthy measure of responsibility, make a healthy contribution, is having just a brilliant career without question. And up and down this lineup, not a whole lot has changed from last year. The one sector of their roster that I had my eye on going into this year was that third line. And it kind of looks like, you hear John Cooper say, we really like the way Radish and Kachuk are kind of coming along. It's really and then they punched out of that right at the deadline and reconstituted the mix, so it now looks like Killorn and Cirelli and Nick Paul on the outside of that group, and you're looking at them going, wow, that might be improved. And never mind, the fourth line, Perry, Maroon, etc., look like they're taking down more important minutes and making a more robust contribution. And that's before you get to the decor. That's before you get to Vasilevsky and net. But the forwards themselves, they kind of answered my concerns. I think this team is braced for another deep run.
Yeah, I'm not knocking the Leafs. I'm just knocking the odds a little there.
Exactly.
Going, hey, if you're going to give it to me,
we're good.
If you give us a lane,
spend your money. That's a good place to spend your money.
We're going to take it. Yeah, you're hearing it now. So let's finish with dark horse picks.
Okay.
Weeksy, give me one where you're like, I could see this happening. That's sneaky. It's like the mortgage rate. It's like I'm giving you two.
Correct. I could give you a few, but I'll stay here in Metro New York with the New York Rangers. And the reason being, Jared Gallant has done a nice job taking over from what David Quinn started. And this group now is a little further along. They've got a world-class player, Panarin, one of the best in the world, just shy of 100 points right now. Zibanejad, of course, Fox, a reigning Norris Trophy winner. Chris Kreider, the man. I sat down with him last week as well. 52 goals right now and the chance at a franchise record. And oh, by the way, did I talk about their blue line? I didn't. Okay, did I talk about their goalie Shesterkin? No, I didn't. Did I mention the fact that they play a harder brand than they have in years? No, I didn't. So those are the reasons why I think they might be able to bloody somebody's noses and disrupt this Stanley Cup playoff Eastern Conference kind of bracket.
You didn't, but I'll talk about the goaltender. When you've got that kind of roster in front of them and you've got somebody like Shesterkin, that's a group that could go on a deep run. So I'm with you on the Rangers, no question.
And is that your dark horse?
No.
Same one?
No.
So who's yours?
Yeah, who do you got?
You had me sold on Rangers.
Question for me?
We played this game yesterday quite often.
So good.
Stu?
He's giving you the lots right now.
Lots was giving it to Stu yesterday.
Right now. Go.
You had a mismatch yesterday.
Again, all the Colorados, the Calgarys, the Floridas of the NHL are sucking up all the oxygen in the room.
Yeah.
And there lurk the St. Louis Blues. They are, for me, a dark horse. There's a lot to like in this group. Let's start with this. How about depth of scoring across the entire roster? They're at 8 players who are 20 goals or better. The potential for, before it all closes out, to be 9 or 10 20-goal scorers. This is a really deep team. This is a team that gets it done by committee. Again, I mentioned Ville Husso earlier in this broadcast. And you know what? If it doesn't work out for Ville Husso, guess what? You got a really nice fallback plan in Jordan Binnington. And he just happened to win it for them the last time this group held up the silver chalice. Here's an interesting part about their roster that I think is really, it kind of goes back to that cup run they had several years back. Robert Thomas, Barbashev, Jordan Kyrou. These guys are just kind of nibbling at the fringes, third and fourth line role players, trying to make a contribution, but, acquiring meaningful experience as they go. Now these guys are making a really robust contribution. It's a different kind of look for St. Louis. We talked about that, but to me, no less threatening.
That's a good one. He made us wait. I love
that in the Western Conference.
The anticipation was there.
Yeah, it was there. It was there.
A little suspense.
I'm just getting a question from you.
Yeah, question from you. You know me. We've done what, 8 hours together this week.
Right.
It feels like.
Yeah.
So
We're a little punchy together.
A little punchy, baby. That's the best television usually. So on that
right.
topic, and now that we've mentioned a little dough, net worth time with Weeksy. A special on the tenders next.
Chances Are is presented by Betway, an official sports betting partner of the NHL.